Good morning. It is December 24th, Christmas Eve day here on the farm. And I guess maybe for some, I'm not sure, this video is my present to you. A lot of people have been asking for this video and I haven't really gotten around to doing one, mostly because we were still using our equipment and it was kind of filthy. So today's video is my equipment tour and I'll try to do it the best I can. I'm going to try to break it down into like categories of equipment. That's what we'll call it. So here we go. I'm going to start it with tractors. The first tractor we're going to do here is this beauty right there. Oh yeah. It is a 6170R John Deere loader tractor. We have an H380 loader on it, and like every farm you need a good loader tractor around, so that's why we have this one. It gets used for everything: hay equipment, moving snow, as you can see by the snow blade on the front. So yeah, about 3,000 hours on it, and we're looking at, if we replace a tractor anytime soon, this is the one that we're going to replace just because it gets used so much. The next tractor we have here is a John Deere 4020. It's got the power shift in it, which makes it unique, and it's a restoration tractor we're going to work on when I have time, which I never seem to, but fingers crossed we will get there. But yeah, kind of a unique tractor to find. There's lots out there, but the price on this one was really good, but it needs some work, as I said, because it's got like 10,000 hours on it. So I think we'll have to do an engine job on it, but it's just kind of a pet project that I'm looking forward to doing some point when I have time. I've also been asked a fair bit about this little beast in the back corner here of the shop. It's a John Deere Model M that is also a restoration project that's been sitting there like that for a very long time. So hoping to get to it. If we don't right away, I think I'll probably pull it out of the shop to make some room. But yeah, that's a little John Deere M that we'll work on. In terms of big tractors, or what I would call big tractors, we have two John Deere 8295Rs. One is a power shift transmission and kind of what we would call a tillage tractor, which is this one right here. So like I said, this is our tillage tractor. It is rated for 295 horsepower engine, but it's been slightly modified and it turns about 340. There's some front weights there, and there's some weights on the inside of the back tires there. So, and it has duals all the way around. This is our other 295R, and it's our planting tractor. As you can see up here, it doesn't really have any front weights. What we do in the spring is attach that tank in the corner to the front of the tractor, and it's our planting tractor. So it's a little bit lighter. The tires on it are just a little skinnier, not much, and it's the E23 transmission, so kind of a hybrid transmission between a power shift and an IVT. This tractor's got about 900 hours on it. This one here's got about 1,500 hours on it. But we usually put about 300 to 400 hours on these tractors a year each. And the reason why I have two of them is we just get having to pull a big buggy like that, or pulling some tillage equipment, or planting with the air seeder, that we just need two of these tractors like that. This beauty right here is one of the original tractors. My dad bought this one new in 1988, I believe. It's a John Deere 4250. It's got about 12,000 hours on it, and we have not touched this hardly. I think we've done the injectors and the fuel pump on it, the water pump. But it's been a good tractor for us, and I don't envision it ever leaving our farm. I actually would like to fix up the cab a little bit inside and get her looking pretty. Now we're in an old drive shed that my dad and grandfather built many years ago, where we kind of store the shorter equipment because the ceiling height isn't real great. But tractors, my bulletproof 3130. I bought this used. I don't know how many hours it had on it. It is a nice little utility tractor for bombing around, cutting ditch banks, running the auger and stuff like that. So bulletproof tractor. That 3130 is also a tractor I like to fix up, give it a paint job, but mechanically it's really good. Now this is my little baby, my John Deere 2020. It's a little gas tractor and I love it. It's just a little bomber. It's got some turf tires on it, so it gets used for some landscaping stuff, and it's going to get an overhaul this winter, actually, all fixed up engine wise. The paint on it's pretty good, so I love this tractor. It's my baby. As for harvesting equipment, I think many of you have seen this girl already. We tend to affix gender to farm equipment. I have no idea why, but we just do. So, as I said, I called it a girl. Yeah, that's just what we do. But anyways, all cleaned up from corn harvest, like when it got all muddy. So it's a Case 7120 combine that has about just a hair over 2,000 hours on it. And it's a 2009, so we put about 220 to 40 hours on it a year, and it's been a really good combine. We've done, I think, 5 seasons with it now, and with the price of equipment the way it is, it looks like this one might be staying for a bit longer, just because the difference to go to a newer model is just pretty high right now, and margins are a little tight, so we'll keep this girl for a while. And in terms of harvest equipment, still headers. So we need a header on the combine to make that beast work here, as I said before in my combine clinic video. But this is our 8-row Drago corn head series 2. And I love it. It's a great corn head. It runs a little bit slower than some other corn heads on the market, so that's why we like it. So corn head. So we have a corn head for the combine. We also have what we call a flex head. We have a flex draper. It's a 30-foot Macdon FD 130. It was new to me this season, so we got one crop through it, and it's right there. When we say draper, it's because there's belts here that kind of convey the crop to the center, and then it puts it up into the combine. So this is what we use for wheat, edible beans, and soybeans. This is, I think people have seen in my last video, if you watched it when we were cleaning up equipment, is our grain cart. It is a 1,000 bushel Brent grain cart with 900 tires on it to help or high flex sidewall tires to help combat compaction. And the model is a 1082, and we've been quite happy with this grain cart. So as for planting equipment, if you go back to when I started my YouTube channel, it was not really farm vlogging, it was me actually building a planter. And I think I did it, I don't know how many videos I did building this planter. And that's it right here. So it's, I'll show you a more up close, but it was a labor of love. We used it this season and it worked really well. And we also side dressed with the cart. So it's about a 5 or 6 ton cart. Those bars fold down, and it's got fertilizer in the front here that's metered out through the system here that's all hydraulically driven. And it's got 4 shutoffs in it. I think I probably have a video on this that maybe explains it more. Those are what an opener looks like. And the fertilizer blows out this hole here. It's been a good unit. I've been very happy with it. And on the back is a planter that I basically built and put on the toolbar. 12-row stack folding planter with all the precision planting gadgetry on it, hydraulic downforce, V-set meters, the clean sweep on the front. For the row cleaners, we have furrow jets on the back, and we run Dawn curve tying closing wheels on it. And it's been a very good planter. I've been very happy with this setup and looking forward to using it in 2020. This is about the one piece of equipment that isn't washed. We had a hydraulic leak, and when oil sprays everywhere, dust collects there. So this is a 1990 CCS air seeder John Deere, 30 foot, 7.5 inch spacings that we use to plant our soybeans and our winter wheat. In terms of tillage, this is my Orthman 1 tripper that I use to strip till. It's a 6-row machine. It's a little small for us. If we were to replace something in terms of tillage equipment, this would be one of them. I'd like to go to maybe a 12-row just because that would match our planter better, but it's, as I said, 6 rows, 30-inch spacings, and I've been quite happy with it. This in the corner here is our Horsch Joker RT25, and what that really means is it's 25 feet. It's a European speed disc, I guess you could call it, compact disc, whatever. We're very happy with it. It's letting us do some stuff with our edible beans that lets us get away from a whole bunch of intensive tillage, which is nice to help our soil health. We got it this year and we used it a fair bit, so as I said, quite happy with it. And I do have a video where you can kind of see it work, so I can put a card in the video here just so you can click on that to see it. For primary tillage or fall tillage, we use this disc gripper the odd time. I used it this year to work down some wheat stubble that was compacted from a manure application, and also work down some ground that we tiled. It's a 530B, and it's 5 shanks, 4 lead shanks, and it is 12.5 feet wide. This is an underbirth zone builder. We use this to break up compaction. It's a 5 shank. 130. We don't use it very often, but it's kind of a tool you have in the tool chest to fix headlands that you compact or areas that get a little too much traffic, but we haven't used it for a couple years. From a tillage standpoint, this is another video that I have in my channel that you can probably find, where we actually built this strip till, or strip freshener we call it. It's an old John Deere planter frame that these units came off of. We took the empty bar, a friend of mine and I, took the old 1760 planter toolbar and put these strip fresheners on it. Yetter strip fresheners, and all they do is kind of scratch up the strip we made last fall, so that maybe it warms up if we need it to warm up a little bit more in the spring. So that's the scoop on that. It's been, it worked well. We used it a fair bit this year to make some new strips as well, so pretty happy with it. This is our land roller. It's made by a company just west of us, about 25 minutes. It's a 36-foot roller. It was built in 1995, so it's got some age on it, but it does the trick. We use it to roll bean ground after the beans are planted to push down stones so they don't go into the combine. I think I have a video on that as well. And then sometimes we pull it behind this, which is our field cultivator. It's a 45-foot Wilrich QX2 cultivator. And we try not to use this, but we'll be using it again this spring. We use this after we disc grip to level up the ground. We usually cultivate it twice to plant a crop into. And they're, I think the sweeps are on 8-inch spacings. It's not my favorite cultivator, it works, but the harrows are nice at the back. It's 3-bar tine harrows. And we have a hitch that we pull the roller behind, but we have to leave it kind of folded up because if we leave the outer wings folded up, it's the same width as the roller, but it works. We don't plan on using it much, so I'm not really looking for a different one. This is our rock picker. It's always kind of nice to have one around. It's a hay buster that we use to clean up really bad areas of stones. We'll probably use it this coming year to clean up a couple spots that we cleared some trees off of kind of some older fence line, but nice tool to have. In terms of application equipment, that's my sprayer. It is a 2250. It's the smallest one that Case makes. It's got the AIM command system on it. It's pretty much loaded up with bells and whistles. This has become a pretty important piece of equipment on our farm in terms of managing the health of our crops, and managing for fungicides, doing fertilizer applications as well, and wheat with 28 as a liquid. So it's got a 90-foot boom on it and a custom, I don't know if you can see it, because it's kind of dark in here. Right there is a custom 900-gallon stainless steel tank. So it kind of increased the capacity on it. I run wider tires in the spring on it. Right now the narrow ones are on it. So I spend about 250 hours a year in this applicator. And this always makes me sad because they have to sit outside because I have nowhere to put them in sheds, but that's the manure spreader. It's a Tebby. I don't know what model it is. I don't know if it's on here or not, but we use it to spread about 2,000 tons of manure a year. And it's been a really good spreader. And if you look at the back, it's got a canopy, so there's 2 horizontal beaters in there that break up the manure, and then it drops down on the spinners there, and they fling it out. There's a video. If you're curious to see how it works, there's a video I have in my channel somewhere. I think that shows it in action. As you kind of probably can see behind me, or as I maybe walk through the shed, we have all these wagons all in here. We have, I think, 12 gravity boxes. That's what we call them, gravity box wagons. Gravity wagons. So we have 6 400 bushel bruns. We have 2 underverse right behind me. And then we have some old school ones that I remember as a kid putting the extensions on the top there, J&M. So we have 4 of those, but I just sold one to a young fella. So we'll be having 3 of those, and then we got the rest of these bruns and underverse that we haul all our grain in. And the older ones, the J&Ms here, we use actually just for seed or fertilizer. So they don't really haul any crop. Got a few new running gear. They're 15-ton running gear to put a couple of wagon boxes on top, gravity boxes. The other ones are getting pretty bad to haul them on the road, so this is also a winter project. Now for feeding the sprayer, we built this tender trailer. It's, I'm not sure, I think like a 48-foot trailer. We have 2 2,400-gallon tanks, one on the gooseneck part, one on the back, and then the middle. Here we do all the mixing and have the chemical totes sit up there. This tender trailer we pull with a tractor. We call it that sun's bright. We call it a Joe Dog. So it's kind of the back end of a semi-tractor or semi-truck, and they make a hitch where you can hook a tractor to it. So that's how we pull it around. This is what we call Big Bertha. It's a 600 bushel gravity wagon that we don't really use. And I think I'm probably going to sell it. We just haven't got it stored away yet. We'll get it somewhere this winter. That's what next week's job is going to be. And we also have a little Turnco 250 bushel one that I don't even know, I think I'll get rid of it too, because we just don't use it. It just kind of sits around. Now this is our big dump wagon. We use it to haul manure away from the sheep barn when we get kind of full on the pad, which we'll have to do shortly. We'll have to store it in the field, which we're allowed to do as a temporary storage. But it's an 18 ton. We used it to haul corn from actually the farm where we're on right now over to the grain setup, which is basically, where are you? There's the grain setup right there. So we might end up using it more to haul grain. It was kind of nice. It's a handy thing to have. It holds a lot of stuff. And these two wagons right here, this one we use all the time well, I should say all the time. We use it for liquid fertilizer. So spring and fall it gets used to hold our liquid fertilizer we put down in furrow. And that little stainless steel, it's just kind of like a standby, or one we've had for a lot of years. We don't use it very often, but sometimes we get into the heat of the battle. We'll tender with it as well to the field with different things. But for the most part, it doesn't really get used. We got one hay wagon right now that's holding chimneys that need to go back on the barn, but we use that to haul straw and hay. I think some of you might have seen this too as well. It's a John Deere little mini excavator. It's a 3.5 ton that we use to fix field tiles and do site work around the farm, or do anything that requires a fair bit of digging. It does have the longer arm on it, so it's got a little bit more reach. But this has been super duper handy to have, and it gets used more often than not. And this coming year in 2020, we'll be using it to do some field tiling. One of the things we really have to do with our soils is tile drain them, and basically we have to put this corrugated tile that's perforated. The perforations, there's perforations right there, little slits. We put this in the field underground about, we try to do a minimum of 36 inches, 3 feet. And so this is a tile cart that takes a spool of tile that we can lay out in the field. And this is the tile plow that we use to put that tile in the ground. It basically goes in the top of the tile plow there and goes all the way down and out the back. And this basically plows it in. So you'll see some videos coming up in 2020, because we're going to do some tiling in a few fields this coming summer. But that's a tile plow, and it's paid for itself, and we haven't really even used it that much. So it's been a really good investment for us. People have also asked about my telehandler. This is a 5080 or LM 5080 New Holland. It's got 3 booms in it, telescopic for zooming out. It needs some TLC because I bent a whole bunch of stuff in the front end, so I had to tear off the brackets, and I got some new ones I gotta get and put back on. So this is going into the shop in the new year. If you have a grain farm, I would highly recommend having one of these things. And it's kind of hard to see what it is, but we call it a sucker blower or a grain vac. It's a little bit different style than what you see. I know like Welker's had one where they showed moving grain with it, but ours is made here in Ontario. We've had this for a long time, so anytime we have to suck out a bin, we can use this to do it, or if we spill grain, it helps clean stuff up. In terms of augers, we do have this 10-inch 70-foot auger that we use for a lot of years to put wet corn into our old drying system. It's got a swing hopper on the front there. So yeah, it's moved a lot of grain over the years. And we got a little handy dandy 31 foot 10-inch auger 2 that we actually use to put corn in a bit in the sheep barn. It's electric, so it's pretty handy to do some stuff with. Have another little auger. This is what we use to fill the air seeder and the Alari cart, which I'll show with fertilizer. But it's got a nice little gas-powered power pack on it that runs the hydraulics. So this kind of is a self-contained unit and it works really well. Well, that wraps up the equipment that I use for growing crops. I have one more shed to take you to, and that's where we store the hay equipment that's kind of derelict, kind of dysfunctional, breaks all the time, and causes me a lot of grief, but we'll go see it next. So I apologize, my camera battery died, so I'm going to do this with my phone. This is our disc spine that we use. It's a 1432 at 13 feet, I believe it is. New Holland. It's pretty good. It's an impeller. It doesn't have the roller conditioners at the back. I've had some issues with this. We broke the main frame at the back of it. That was kind of hard to fix, and you know, it works. I would like to upgrade, but for how much we cut a year, it's really hard to warrant. And there's on the disc spine what I mean by kind of like an impeller thing at the back conditioner, where those kind of like hammer blades kind of eject the cut crop out the back, and they don't go through a conditioner rollers. This is a new to us this year John Deere forage harvester. I think it's a 3950 if I'm correct. I'll check at the back, but it's got the corn silage head on it still. We have a hay pickup head at home. It does a really good job. It was kind of rebuilt by friends of ours that we bought it from. So it does a nice job processing the crop, and we use it behind the loader tractor. I lied. It's a 90 or 90. It's a 3960. That's our 10-wheel hay rake that we have that we use to merge rows in or fluff up straw if it gets rained on before we bale it. And we usually pull that behind that open station 3130. These two forage harvesters, the Gale and another John Deere, it's a 3950, that one, are both gonna get sold. They're fine. Just we don't need 3 forage harvesters. We had some issues with this one, the John Deere behind, that needs some rebuilding on it, and I don't really care to do it. And this other one we bought from friends works really well, so I'm fine with selling this one. And the Gale here, it's really hard to get parts for. They don't make them anymore, so I think we'll sell it as well. It works still, it just needs some tender loving care. There's 5 forage wagons in here. We have 2 New Hollands that need some massive work on, 2 Dions that are functional, and 1 in the back corner that needs some work. I guess it would be 3 Dions and 2 New Holland forage wagons, but that's kind of on the list of stuff to do before we hit hay next year in 2020, is to get our forage wagons in better shape. And out back behind, you can see right there behind the John Deere harvester, we have a couple more forage wagons. That's kind of where forage wagons go to die. Those Gales are totally messed, so we're going to scrap them out or sell them for someone who's really ambitious to fix them. And this little beast here is a 3-point hitch tedder slash rake slash piece of garbage that we have. It works. It's not super awesome, but we have kind of some of these tools around that help us get through a pinch. Well, that wraps up the equipment tour. I just want to thank everyone quick for subscribing to the channel and making my YouTube channel fun. I didn't really expect to start a channel. I kind of started with building that planter, and it turned into doing some vlogging and showing what happens on our farm, and I appreciate all the support. Everyone's given in kind words of encouragement through the year. So from our family to yours, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and enjoy time with family and friends. Thanks again.